Is it considered a coup when the left-wing media throw Joe Biden under the bus? How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the epic collapse of Joe Biden, which is happening live in real time and in full color right in front of our very eyes. Now, the whole Afghanistan thing, I think, was the nail in the coffin. Joe Biden had been messing up for a long time throughout the campaign cycle. They pretty much kept him in the basement, didn't let him out. And when they did let him out, he was pretty much like Weekend at Bernie's, Geppetto, a puppet, a husk of a man. He's not really inhabiting his body. He pretty much has 2 feet in the ground already, if you catch my drift. But throughout all of that, what did the left-wing media do? They stuck by his side. They protected him. They said if you say anything about Joe Biden's appearance or his stumbling and bumbling and carrying on, that you were an ableist, you were an ageist, disrespectful, a right-wing conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat wearer, all of this and that and the third. Now, the left-wing media are saying the exact same things that we said from the very beginning. I think this spells the beginning of the end. Now, before I go down that rabbit hole, let's watch this clip. This is from ABC. You have George Stephanopoulos, who is a former Clinton White House operative. He's interviewing Joe Biden and asking him some tough questions. And Joe Biden is not really answering the questions very well. But after we get done watching that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what he said and did in that interview. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents, my deep detail analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Back in July, you said a Taliban takeover was highly unlikely. Was the intelligence wrong, or did you downplay it?
I think there was no consensus. If you go back and look at the intelligence reports, they said that it was more likely to be sometime by the end of the year.
You didn't put a timeline out when you said it was highly unlikely. You just said flat out it's highly unlikely the Taliban would take over.
Yeah. Well, the question was whether or not the idea that the Taliban would take over was premised on the notion that somehow the 300,000 troops we had trained and equipped was going to just collapse. They were going to give up. I don't think anybody anticipated that.
We've all seen the pictures. We've seen those hundreds of people packed into a C-17. We've seen Afghans falling.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
What did you think when you first saw those pictures?
What I thought was we have to gain control of this. We have to move this more quickly. We have to move in a way in which we can take control of that airport. And we did.
So you don't think this could have been handled, this actually could have been handled better in any way? No mistakes?
No, I don't think it could have been handled in a way that we're going to go back in hindsight and look, but the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happened.
So for you, that was always priced into the decision?
Yes.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, that was pretty painful to watch, pretty painful. Shout out to the left-wing media for asking him tough questions at this point. I mean, better late than never, right? Because like I said, throughout the entirety of the campaign and throughout the first part of his presidency, the first few months, it was softball questions, talking about, okay, what kind of ice cream do you have today? Do you like vanilla, strawberry, all this and that? They're asking them real softball questions, but now they're asking real questions when they're able to ask questions, at least, because for the past few days, he go out there. I think he did 2 pressers. One was about the whole Afghanistan kerfuffle, and the second was about the virus, and he didn't take questions in either presser. But here he has a controlled environment with one person asking questions, and he's still struggling with that. I think we're seeing the beginning of the end. Throughout this entire time of Afghanistan pretty much falling apart, I'll get to that in a minute, he's been at Camp David on vacation. Now, I think the Camp David thing may have, that may have been planned before Afghanistan fell apart. I'm not really sure. But he did a press conference while on vacation and then went back to vacation. And now, as I speak, he'll be going back to Wilmington, which is where he's from. Have you ever seen that before? It's like, okay, during the international crisis, with American citizens impacted overseas in Afghanistan, thousands of them, you're on vacation and then take another vacation somewhere else. Like, why? A long weekend? So he'll be in Wilmington from today, which is Thursday, on up until Monday. Why? For what reason? How is that a long weekend? A long weekend is like Friday through Monday, Thursday through Monday. What's going on? Something's not right with this guy, and I think that they all know it. Now, as far as the whole Afghanistan thing, this is 100% his fault. He was trying to blame Trump in the first press conference he's had, but it's not Trump's fault. Trump had a specific plan that the Biden administration scrapped. So whatever kind of plan is there, or a lack of a plan, that's all on the Biden administration. If you're the president, you're the leader, you're the guy in charge, you got to take whatever comes with that. That means any victory, any defeat, that's on your back, sir. Don't blame the other guy. You got to take that. And his responses here were ridiculous, talking about, oh, that was 4 or 5 days ago, talking about the airplane fiasco and people falling from the plane because they're trying to hop on the landing gear to escape, knowing that if they didn't escape, it might mean certain death for them. But once they get up in the sky, of course, you can't hold on to the landing gear, and they fell to their death. Really sad, really unfortunate. And I think one Afghan was caught in the landing gear because it would fall back up into the plane and it would deploy when it's time to land. But when you're in the air, it's folded up. And the person was caught in the landing gear and their body was just kind of flailing about. You could see it from the window. I mean, this is really crazy. And it's an international embarrassment. Look at papers all over the world. You go to UK, go to Russia, China, everywhere, Japan. It's an international embarrassment. And not only is it an embarrassment, it was just, it's deadly. People are dying. The Taliban, they've pretty much taken the whole country. He's talking about, oh, well, we didn't know that they would just fall apart so quickly. It's like, man, come on. The reason why we've been over there for 20 years is because if we left, then it would fall apart. I'm not saying we'd be there forever, but I'm saying if we're going to leave, we got to do things properly. How about getting out American citizens that are over there? How about if you made promises to people like the interpreters or anyone who helped you throughout the entire time? How about you get them out, honor your promise? Because if you make a promise to somebody overseas helping you in the conflict and you don't keep it, then how are we going to have trust with any other nation? You go over there and say, hey, okay, help us right now with this situation and we'll take care of you at the end. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to believe that. You didn't do that with Afghanistan. Why would you do it here? Your word is your word. Your word is your bond. When you break that word, what do you have? You have no trust anymore. And America as a country their reputation takes a big hit. Put it to you like that. They become less trustworthy in the eyes of the world. And trust and the name, reputation, it goes a very long way. And diplomacy, when you don't have that, you have a problem. You may have to resort to engaging in more conflict than what you would normally have because you don't have the trust. So this whole thing was a big time dumpster fire, really crazy. Yes, you could have done this exit from Afghanistan in a better way. Have the military leave last. Why did the military leave first? The military left like middle of the night, didn't even tell our allies over there because it's not just us over there, meaning the United States. You have other countries, you got Britain and a lot of people over there. And it's like, okay, you're just going to leave us like this, not tell us anything? He was trying to get Boris Johnson, the president of UK or prime minister or whatever, was trying to get Biden on the phone for 36 hours and was unsuccessful. It's like, what are we really doing here? This is a complete and total disaster. Any way to spin it is not going to work. And I think even the left-wing media understand this. Now, does this mean in light of this disaster, in light of him barely able to answer questions from one guy who's a Clinton operative, in light of this and the extended vacation, does it mean that he gets 25th Amendment id, if that's a word? Meaning they say he's unfit for office. He needs to be removed from the presidency. Does this happen? Maybe it does. I've not seen Kamala Harris at all. I think I saw her one time in the picture and she's like this. That's that whole, I need a box of Newports right now because I'm so stressed out. That's that look that she had on camera. But I've not heard her speak. I've not really seen her too much. So do we have a vice president? Do we have a president at all? I see the Taliban giving more press conferences than Joe Biden. This is embarrassing. This is unacceptable. And even the left understand that this is a bipartisan issue right here. So I think right now, while this is still going on, it's probably the best time to get him out of office. But it won't really matter, in my humble opinion, as I close, because if they get Biden out, who's going to be the next person in there? But you're going to put Kamala Harris in there. I mean, she'll be the same as Joe Biden, in my humble opinion, because neither one of them are actually the president. They're not leaders. You see the actual leaders speak in the absence of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. You know, your Milley and all these guys, your staffers, your generals. These are the guys and the girls in charge, not the figureheads of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. As I close for real this time, I'm going to say this. President Trump was hated by these people because he's an actual leader. He would lead from the front rather than just letting the staff and all these people dictate to him his day. Joe Biden is given the binder of things he has to do in a day. It's like, all right, here you go. Take that. You'll be done by 4 o'clock. You'll be in bed by 5:30. Get you a nice warm blanket, tapioca pudding, and have that be that. You can go down in the White House basement, and if you feel really bad and you want to be around quote unquote familiar surroundings, you can go home. And a side note, they said that, well, allegedly he wants to be around quote unquote familiar surroundings. That's why he's going back to Wilmington, where he's from. He's going back to his house. Familiar surroundings. You're stressed out. You can't sleep. I mean, is he going to the upper room anytime soon? I don't know, but I'll move on. The whole thing is that we've seen the actual leaders speak in the absence of any kind of, in the absence of the figureheads, which is crazy. All you got to do is just be out there and be a parrot. You can't even do that. Trump, on the other hand, was not only just out there symbolically, but he was also a leader. They're talking about him going golfing and stuff like that. It's like, look, I'll be the man's caddy. I'll go out there and golf with him. I don't care, because he actually was getting work done. He actually worked a lot. He talked to the American people. He was very transparent. These people are the total opposite, and it's affecting us in an international way to the point of embarrassment. And if he resigns or he messes around and has to get removed or he passes away, I'm not sure what that means for us in the near future. But I hope that in 2022, we can get some people in the House and the Senate that actually know what they're doing to counteract these incompetent, ridiculous leftists who are in control right now on the Hill. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what Joe Biden said during that interview with Stephanopoulos? Did he make points? Did he not make points? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This guy, Joe Biden, is no leader. Kamala Harris is no leader. And if this is the best they can do, Joe Biden, this is the best they could come up with. Out of all these people that ran, you had Pete Buttigieg, whatever his name is, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker. This is the best of the best that you have. If that's the best, what do you have for 2024 or even 2022? What do you have aside from, some skullduggery? What do you have? Nothing. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.